Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Week 4 edition of my top waiver wire targets and streamable defenses. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into today's video, and as I always do, I am going to be starting with my top waiver wire targets. Just in case we do have any first-time listeners, these players I am speaking about, they have to have at least 50% roster availability per the leagues on ESPN, so there's a good chance they're available in your league. Before I dive in this list, I do want to say really quick, yeah, if Trey Benson's out there in your waiver wire, definitely go grab him. He just did not qualify for this list. I do the 50% cutoff just because my videos come out a lot later than other analysts out there. So some people might be seeing this video later in the week. So that by doing the 50% cutoff, there's a good chance they're still available once the waivers process or after tonight. That being said, let's start at the quarterback position as I always do. My quarterback out of the week, this is more of just a strictly streaming option. I don't know if he's going to be a season-long option for you if you're looking for that at the quarterback spot, if you lost Joe Burrow and you're still searching for a quarterback option. But if you're looking for somebody for week 4, I do like Geno Smith. He's only rostered on 10% of the rosters right now on ESPN. Against the Washington Commanders, he threw for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then he has thrown for at least 285 yards in 2 of the first 3 games of the season. And I'm going to talk about it in tomorrow night's video. Spoiler alert for one of my top starts. But he is going against the Bears this week, who have allowed the 4th most points per game against quarterbacks this year so far. My running back out of the week, this guy has been on the waiver wire video for the last 3 weeks, and I think we got to get him above that 50% threshold right now because he's a clear-cut handcuff to Travis Etienne. I'm not going to spend too much time on him because if you guys have watched this video every single week, I've talked about him every week, but the rookie running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Bashal Tutin, he's only rostered on 48.1% of the rosters right now. He's scored a touchdown for the Jaguars in 2 straight games. Now, he does not have enough touches for you to trust him as a flex play, but if you are a Travis Etienne Jr. manager and you don't like your running back depth options, if Etienne Jr. were to miss time in the upcoming future, then I would definitely suggest stashing Tutin on your bench so you can definitely have that insurance for you if something were to happen to the Jaguars' top running back. My wide receiver out of the week, pairing him with Geno Smith because he just also is coming off a big game. But I love Trey Tucker for the Raiders. He's only rostered on 2.2% of the rosters right now. This past weekend, he had 8 receptions for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns on 9 targets. Now, this guy is a year 3 wide receiver. If any of you guys been dating back with me back to the summer or over the last several years with me covering fantasy football, you do know I love year 3 wide receivers. Trey Tucker was in my year 3 wide receiver tier of wide receivers to watch to see how their roles unfold in the first month of the season. And right now, it seems like Trey Tucker is starting to develop a role where you can possibly trust him as a wide receiver 3 in your lineups. He's gotten at least 8 targets in the last 2 games, and he does have a great matchup this week if you're looking for a sneaky play going against the Bears, who have allowed the 2nd most points per game against wide receivers this season. My tight end out of the week, I'm going to go with the guy that's always kind of just that gives you a high floor option at the tight end spot. I'm going to suggest Hunter Henry, the safety valve tight end for Drake May. He's only on 48.9% of the rosters right now. This past weekend, he had 8 receptions for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns on 11 targets against the Steelers. He's gotten at least 8 targets in 2 of the 3 games so far this year. And he does have a good quality matchup if you're looking for a streaming option this week at the tight end spot. He's going against the Panthers, who have allowed the 7th most points per game against tight ends this year. My flex out of the week, I'm actually going to suggest the rookie wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, Elick Ailmaner. I probably totally butchered that name. He's only rostered right now on 21.1% of the rosters. He's scored a touchdown in 2 straight games for the Titans. He's gotten at least 5 targets in all 3 games. And after watching this game this past weekend and what I've seen from in the first 2 games, there seems to be some chemistry between him and Cam Ward. And then with just how bad this Tennessee Titans team is, they're probably going to be passing a lot in games, so I could see his targets continuing to increase. And if he were to, because right now, like I mentioned, he's getting at least the 5 targets a game. If he can start getting anywhere between like 7 to 9 plus targets a game, he's going to play himself into possibly starting when the matchup is right. So I think if you don't like your wide receiver depth options, he's definitely worth a chance to stash on your bench at this point of the season. So yeah, those are my top waiver wire targets for week 4 this season. I'm going to go ahead and move into the streamable defenses. Again, these defenses, they do have to be rostered, and they do have to have at least 50% of roster availability on the leagues on ESPN for me to talk about them. My number 1 streaming option, I'm going to go with the Chargers defense against the Giants. The Chargers are only rostered on 12.5% of the rosters right now. And this is just because they're playing a rookie quarterback this week. If you guys have not heard, the Giants have decided to bench Russell Wilson, and they're going to be playing Jackson Dart. You can go back to week 1 when I was talking about the other rookie quarterbacks. I do love streaming defenses against rookie quarterbacks in their first start. I think I saw it's been like since early 2000s sometime maybe when a rookie made his first start against an undefeated team for them to win a game. So I like that. You got a very good defense going against a rookie quarterback in his first start. So I'm looking for them to get the pressure on him and force him into mistakes where you can get those turnovers and ideally the sacks. And then what I also do like about this is the Giants are tied for the 5th most turnovers. So they've been turning the ball over. Now we'll have to see if that changes with Jackson Dart in the lineup. But they have been giving the ball away. So that's why I also like this matchup. My number 2 streaming defense of this week, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Commanders against the Falcons. The Commanders only rostered on 13.3% of the rosters right now, and it's mainly just because this Atlanta offense has been very inconsistent despite the playmakers that they have at the skill positions. When you look at some stats I found, Washington actually is tied for the 4th most sacks in the NFL, so their defense has been doing a good job so far this season, getting their hands on the quarterback. But then when you look at the Atlanta, they're tied for the 4th most turnovers, so that can give you a little bit of a higher ceiling as a streaming option. And then what gives you a higher floor is that Atlanta has been struggling to put points on the board this season. They're only averaging 14 points a game. I know it's a very small sample size with only 3 games played so far, but that is the 2nd lowest in the NFL. My number 3 streaming option, I'm going to go with the Patriots against the Panthers. The Patriots are only rostered on 49% of the rosters right now. This is a home game for the Patriots, so I do like to factor in that as well. I know the Patriots defense has kind of been a little bit, not like a major letdown, but they haven't really lived up to the potential that they have. But I think the good news is this week, it does sound like Christian Gonzalez, their best cornerback, is going to be making his return to the lineup, making his first appearance of the season, which would be huge in coverage against Ted McMillan. And some standout stats that I found, that New England is tied for the 4th most sacks in the NFL. And then what you love as a potential ceiling play with the Patriots defense is the Carolina Panthers are tied for the 2nd most turnovers. So I view this as a potential high ceiling outcome if you want to play the Patriots. My other option I do like the 49ers against the Jaguars. The 49ers are only rostered on 33.3% of the rosters right now. Going against a Jaguars team that their defense is playing very good, but their offense has been very inconsistent. This is a home game for the 49ers. So like I said with the Patriots, I like looking at the home matchups where they can take advantage of that. And then the biggest reason I think there's a potential ceiling play for this defense is because Jacksonville is tied for the 4th most turnovers in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence has thrown, I think, a pick in every single game. It feels like every time I watch the Jaguars game in the first 3 games, he's made a boneheaded mistake when throwing the ball, which just gave the ball to the opponent. So I do like that as an option for you. And just because I know Nick Bosa's hurt, but I think they can take advantage of this offense that's been very inconsistent through the first 3 games of the year. My number 5 streaming defense. Now, let me go ahead and say this. This is like a 12-14 team league stream. This is if you miss out on all the other options out there that I just mentioned, the top 4. This is a strictly high risk, high reward play. Again, I've said this before, and I do kind of forget to remind people, streaming defense is a high risk, high reward proposition. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes you get God. But the reason why the Titans defense did make it, despite only being rostered on less than 1%, they're only on 0.6% of the rosters on ESPN. It's just because of how bad the Texans offense has been this year. Now, first of all, the Titans, they are tied for the third most takeaways in the NFL. And keep in mind, they did not force a turnover against the Colts this past weekend. So despite not forcing a turnover this last weekend, they're still tied for the third most takeaways in the NFL. And then, like I said, the biggest reason why I'm suggesting this as a potential streaming option is because of Houston's offense. Houston's offense is tied for the fifth most sacks allowed in the NFL through 3 games. They are tied for the third most turnovers in the NFL. So the fact that they're giving up sacks and they're turning over the ball, that gives you a potential high ceiling play. And then what gives you a potential high floor for them, despite them playing the Titans, is the Texans are only averaging 12.7 points per game this year. That is the lowest in the NFL. So again, am I saying rush to go get the Titans defense? No, this is more of a 12, 14 plus team league streaming option. Or if you were to miss out on those top 4 options and you wanted to roll the dice on the Titans, I would totally understand it, because the stats with the Texans offense say this could be a potential high ceiling play with the Titans this week. So yeah, those are my top streaming options and waiver wire targets for week 4 this NFL season. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. Always trying to see that number go up. Also, follow me on my all social media platforms. I'm on X, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm the most active on X. That's where you're more than likely going to get a response from me. So please do follow me over there. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow night with my top starts and sits for the week. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.